Hi guys, in this video I'm going to take you through the integration process of this clustered column chart. If you have downloaded the source files from my website, then we can begin. Extract the folder and then open this practice worksheet. Files downloaded from the internet are regarded as unsafe, so enable macros, mark it safe or unlock it when prompted. Firstly, let's see what kind of data is suitable for the Pundit Clustered Column Chart. This chart works in tabular data presentations like these. You can have more columns and more rows. That is fine, but the structure should always be like this. An easier way to see if your data is suitable for a clustered column chart is to try first to create the chart from the worksheet. If you select the data, go to Insert a Chart, and the clustered chart is not among the recommended charts, then your data is not right for this chart. However, if you can see it among the list like I do here, then you know that your data is perfect for the Pundit Clustered Column Chart. Perfect. It seems the tables are good for a clustered chart. Therefore, we are going to use them for the project and learning. Let's begin. Open the VBA editor and add a new user form. We are going to place our chart on this user form. To do this, we will need to import the Pundit Clustered Column Chart. So right-click on the Project Explorer, select Import File and navigate to the place where you saved your files. Select and import this file. Our Pundit Clustered Column Chart is a class module. Therefore, make sure you have a file named Pundit Clustered Column Chart under the Class Modules folder. If you have done this, then you have passed the difficult part. The rest is just a piece of cake. Now back to the user form, we are going to add a chart for the first table. To do this, double-click on the user form to access its code area. Find the initialize event. Now, to add our chart at the initialization of this user form, we need to first declare a module level variable like so. This declaration will create a new instance of our class module. And yes, each chart must have a separate variable. This is why I have written chart1 as a name for this variable. Now, let's add the chart. In the initialize event, write chart1 and then press the period key. If you do this, you will get a long list of very important things you can do. However, you want to add a chart, so select Add Chart and then press the space button. If you do that, you will get a tooltip that says Source Range. Here, I will write my range like so, because that's where my data is found. Likewise, in your project, you should do the same and make sure that you include the worksheet name. Now place a comma, and the tooltip will move to Add To. This is where you want to place your chart. Here, I will write me because I want to place it on this user form. Lastly, you must give a name to the chart. As for me, I will write chart1 as one word. You are done unless you want to change things like width, left, height, top positions, and other properties. If you run the user form right now, a chart will be rendered to you with every property set by default. Right now the chart is sitting at position top is equal to 0, left is equal to 0, and this is its standard size. If you want to change positions, font, size, and style, you can do it within the code. The position of the chart is set from the parameters of the add chart method, so you can place another comma and define each position like so. If you run the user form now, you will notice that the chart has been positioned as defined. The chart is responsive by default. To demonstrate this, let's turn the show modal property of the user form to false and then run the user form. Now change values within the defined source range and see what happens. As you can see, the chart updates automatically. So instead of updating values manually like we are doing right now, you can create a beautiful form to capture and manipulate the source range data as I did in the demo file. Try to learn from the code from that file and see what it does and how it does it. If you are not good with VBA programming, try to learn the art of VBA coding from the 2 courses that I have right now. To be able to build applications like these, you need to learn VBA and understand it as a spoken language. And the courses that I have will put you on the right path. They hold the missing key of your understanding of VBA programming. The properties and methods of this chart are descriptive, simple, and straightforward. I don't have to go through all of them in this demonstration. See how you can manipulate the appearance of this chart by adding a few properties. Because chart 1 is a class, I can come here and write with and then end my with statement by writing end with. To access the properties, I can press the period sign and then choose what to do. You can place these properties after the add chart method or even before. They all work perfectly. However, because some of these properties will refresh the chart, I recommend that you set them before the add chart method. This way your chart will load faster at initialization. Let's add a chart title, for example. To do this, I will select the chart title property and then write down my preferred chart name. Symbols can be currency, weight, distance symbols, etc. They can be anything, varying with languages and writings. Therefore, you add them using the number scale add symbol property. This is money, so I can add a dollar symbol by setting the number scale add symbol to a string dollar. If these were weights, I would write kgs and then set the next parameter to align right. My graph will then appear like this. You see, that's how it's done. Let me change this to dollars. The bar colors are auto-generated by code. If you need to edit a color to your preference, you can still do that using the Edit Legend color property. For example, if I want to change this third bar to white, I can write .edit legend color and then press the space key on my keyboard. The indexes start from 1, so I can write the index I want to change, place a comma and then write VB white. You can use the RGB function or a long integer color value. If I run the user form now, you will notice that the color on bar 3 has changed to white. Let me know if you prefer me to add a color picker for this purpose. There are many properties here. You can change font name, size and color for each of these sections. You can go ahead and experiment with that. These are almost everything you can do on a worksheet clustered column chart. Let's move on to the next important thing: adding charts to frames. This is the most recommendable thing because you can set the position of your chart to equal to the width and the height of the frame. When that is done, if you want to reposition or resize your chart, all you need to do is to stretch your frame to determine the height and width of your chart. Now pay attention. Adding a chart to a frame means that you are building objects into that frame. By default, the VB editor allows you to build objects into one frame. And that frame is the last created frame. If you try to build another chart to the next frame, your worksheet will crash. This is not my problem. It is a problem with the VBA editor. If you are a well-versed coder, I'm sure you have experienced this problem before. The system crashes because you have violated the rules of creating objects within a user form. Only a last-born child of a user form can adopt children. If this is the case, then you should make your user form have only one child, a base frame. So let's add a frame and call it base frame. We'll make this frame the same size or bigger than the user form. Make the top and left positions -1 point. Now this frame has become the first and last child of our user form, and it can have as many children as it wants. Therefore, we can now build our application on this frame. Now, I can add a new frame right here and then go back to our code and change the me keyword to frame 2. I can then write 0 on the left and top positions, or remove the values because by default the values are set to 0. On the height property, I'll write frame 2 dot height, and on the width property, I will write frame 2 dot width. If I run the user form, the chart will be created on the frame. Like I said before, to position the chart, I no longer need to go back to the code. Instead, I can drag, drop, stretch, and then run the user form. To add a new chart, I'm going to add a new frame. You can change the name, it's up to you. On the code editor, I will declare a new module level variable for this chart like so. In the initialize event, I will add the new chart like so, this time pointing to a new data source and our new frame. As you can see, if I manually change the values in the source range, the chart will also update accordingly. The speed at which these columns rise and fall is controllable. You can do this by using the set animation speed method. As you can see, you can choose from speed 1 to speed 4 or even to turn off the animation. These are like your gears. The default speed is speed 2. It can be faster for a chart with columns less than 10 or slower depending on the number of columns in your chart, or more importantly, the height of the chart. Therefore, choose speed 1 to lower the speed or a higher for a much faster speed. This is what speed 1 looks like on this chart with 16 columns. As you can see, it can handle it, but it's a little slow. However, if I reduce this chart to only 2 columns, look what happens. You see, it can handle a few columns, but when it comes to many columns, it becomes slow. The speed booster allows you to increase the speed of the chosen level. This means that you can operate only with a single speed level and only change the booster value. So if I want this speed to be 2 times faster, I can change the booster value from default 1 to 2. This speed booster has a double data type. Therefore, you can also use it to lower the current speed by half by writing 0.5 here. The reason why we have a speed booster parameter is that the animated speed varies depending on the height of the columns. If your X line is in the middle of the graph, your columns are shorter than when the X line is also the baseline. So use the speed booster parameter to set a compensating speed. The chart comes with light, night and dark themes. The chart is just a framework. These themes are foundation themes. You can build on them and create your very own theme you can call at any time on different charts. If you are creating a dashboard, obviously you will have more than one chart, and you don't want to repeat or write the same code for every chart to persist a custom theme. So here is how you do it. First, let me use the color and font properties to modify chart 1 to my preferred colors and font. I will first change the back color of the chart like so. I'm going with a dark color, so I will leave the default theme on dark mode so that my new theme will inherit everything except this new change. If my color was light, I was going to first set my theme to light. Next, I want to change the grid line colors. You see, just like that, I now have a new theme and it looks very good. The font and sizes of the categories and the number scale can also be changed. Therefore, I'm going to quickly modify them like so. Look at this. I now have a beautiful theme. Now if I want to use the same theme on chart 2, I will have to copy and paste the same theme to the chart 2 code. As you can see, this works, but it's not professional. As you know from my teaching, I don't like this kind of coding because it creates a lot of redundancy. What if I had 5 charts and I want to use the same theme? Now instead of doing this, let me show you how to create a recyclable theme, and you will see how powerful and smart are the Pundit Excel charts. Below this initialize event, I will write a new sub and call it my chart theme. You can give it a different name, it's up to you. I will then add a parameter like so. Now within this procedure, I will write a with statement for the target chart and then end the statement with end with. Now look, if I press the period key within this statement, I will get all the properties of the clustered chart. This means that I can cut this code and paste it here, and in its place, I will call this theme and then pass the chart 1 class. In chart 2, I will also call my new theme and then pass in chart 2. If I had more charts, I will do the same and call the theme and then pass in the chart name. Now, suppose I have few optional colors for my charts and I want to be able to change them while keeping the same theme. To achieve this, I can modify my theme like this. On chart 1, I can then choose the teal color, and on chart 2, I can assign the purple color instead. This, my friends, is what I call clean and smart coding. When I want to change colors, I don't have to rewrite all this. I can come back here and choose my color values. I teach more about coding techniques like these in my courses. It is this kind of organized coding that makes you build big applications and finish them without being stuck. Now study with me if you want to code with understanding and without limits. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the chart and haven't got it yet, please follow the link in the description and get your source file. Goodbye for now. See you in the next project.